Good morning, guys, and Happy New Year. So for a lot of you, it is literally the first day of 2018. But today, it is the second for me because I am a little bit ahead of time. It's so nice to see you guys. Hey, Maureen. Hey, Luella. Hey, Margine. Nice to have you guys on here. Okay, so today's tutorial, so the first 5-part tutorial that we're going to do for this year is going to be of this jellyfish. So I have a nice print out over here. And it is nice and it's very colorful and bright. I really like it. So the colors are going to be really great. And the paper that we're using is the Mi-Tientes Touch Canson paper. And we also, this time I'm going to use the Caran pencil. So I'm going to use the Luminence and the Pablo pencils together on this paper. And I'll still use my regular zested pencil blend for blending. So this background, we're actually going to do the whole black background in pencil. And I don't know, I'm not going to add anything else to the background just because of the limit on time that I have, but I'm wondering if I want to make the jellyfish go. Oh, you can always turn the drawing around if you want it to be the other way around. But I might add little patterns or something to change up the background to make it look more unique. Anyways, so this is going to be a 5-part tutorial which I'm going to do live like this, and I'm going to have the colors in that on the screen, so it's all going to be done in real time. Today I'm going to limit it to 2 hours though, because this afternoon I'm doing part 2 of the fantasy art drawing for this month as well. So we're going to see how far we get in 2 hours. I'm going to freehand this outline for a change. Instead of transferring it, I'm going to show you I have a print here on regular printing paper, which we can draw on and everything, and we are going to apply the outline using measurements and just trying to place the paper where you want it, to try and find certain focal points, to find the points that you need to sort of connect the dots as you progress through creating the outline for the jellyfish. And then the outline, hopefully we should be able to get a little bit of color in there before the time, or at least get the black background in before the end of today's class. What else? Oh, and this one at the end of the month, I'm hoping, if all goes well and it's not a fail, this will be the ebook tutorial as well for students. So we'll break this up into step-by-step actions. So what I plan to do at the end of every class is literally take the video content and start forming the step-by-step ebook tutorial on the jellyfish as well, so that both are available and that I'm not waiting for the whole thing to finish by the end of the month before I make the ebook, because then it will take quite a long time. So last month we did the elderly eye as the ebook, and this month we will do the jellyfish. Radio, any questions before we start? You know, I saw on the news how freezing cold it was. I think New Year's Day for those in the US was the coldest that they've ever had on record, which is crazy. And to have ambulances and that on standby for people suffering from hypothermia, maybe, that's crazy. That's not even a thought that crosses my mind. Wow. Thank you, Maureen. Maureen says she loves the ebooks. The ebooks are great. And then for those that don't want to commit to, you know, like a monthly subscription or something, they can buy the ebooks on my Etsy page individually, and then they don't, you know, it's a once-off payment for whatever little tutorial they want. So it's a nifty little thing to be able to do. I feel like I have become pro at time management. You have to, if you want to get all this stuff done, you just have to do it. And I feel like the live streams really keep me on top of it, because if I know that you guys are waiting for me, I feel accountable, so it makes me go ahead and do the work that I need to do. Okay, let's get started. I'm gonna just tape this down real quick with some masking tape. So the paper it's blue. I would have liked the black one, but I don't have any black. So we're just gonna have to apply the black ourselves. Which I think is probably a good thing, because then you guys can see how to make the black backgrounds yourselves when you get an image like this that where you don't have black paper. But or if you're like me and you don't like using black paper, you'd rather make your own black background. That should do the trick. Hopefully my board will stay put. Let's just put the date in here. Okay, so the supplies that we're using are also in the description, if you guys are wondering. So let's put today's class is the 2nd of January. Oopsie. And then add okay, and then the color I will add to the right of the screen as we go. So the first thing we're doing is freehand the outline. Okay. So I'll try and keep that nicely visible on the screen, whatever we're working on. Okay, so I am going to use a white pencil. So I'll just use the Pablo, oh no, that's beige. The white 001. Make sure it's sharp. Radio. So when you are getting to a point where you want to start with the freehand drawing, you want to find a couple of points that you think are important. So we want to know where this edge sort of begins and ends. So we want to know how wide it is. We also want to know where this top area is here. The angles of these areas will help. We want to know where these points are. And then that's a good starting point for now. So then you'll take your ruler and and the way I like to do my outlines is I want to make sure that I'm using a print that's going to be the same size as the drawing. So this method I'm showing you, your print needs to be the same size as the drawing, otherwise it's not going to work. So I'm making sure that every time I place this back down on my paper, it's in line with this edge and that edge there. Okay, so I want to find this top section. So you take your pencil and you create that line, except we are going to be creating it on our actual drawing. So then you take that, and then on your piece of paper take your white pencil and just lightly put that line down there. And then we want to find the other sort of important points that we put down. So for this one, we want to know where the edge is, and this edge actually lines up quite nicely, or we can make it line up with this part of the jellyfish leg, or whatever that's called, and then find it over there. And we're going to be looking at our lines on our reference all the time, because this isn't directly on that line, but it's right next to that line. So that's something that you need to make sure you observe before you draw the outline of the jellyfish. Okay, the next one, this line over here, we could probably do the same thing. Line it up with the edge of this part of the jellyfish leg, like that. Find our little marker. Okay. I want to find this line here. So we could probably just make that we want a bit of an angle. So as long as you have 2 points to rule a line from, then that's sort of the idea. That's how you find your lines and put them down on your paper. Okay, so what I'm going to do, make sure that if you have any questions, put them in capital letters. But I'm not going to look up at the questions all the time. I'm going to draw for a bit, and then maybe after 10 or 15 minutes at a time, I will go through and answer all the questions. Okay. Right, so that's, we're getting a pretty decent box in here now. Now we want these points here on the bottoms of the fins. So we could probably find 2 points. So we can find where they end. Or we could do this another way. Perhaps go the length of the fin. I don't know what the right terminology is. I'm going to call it a fin or a leg, but you guys get the idea. I'll probably have to do that too. Okay. let's create a line over here. We want to create a line here. To sort of follow this leg along. Okay, now we want to draw those two lines on here. Damn it, I'm not recording. Okay. And this angle over here, those two angles will be good indicators. So you can go as far as you want with this. You can put hundreds of lines down, or you can put a couple of lines down, but it's all up to you to see. You can see how comfortable you are with that. This line right here will be pretty good. Okay. I'm wondering if this... Oh, we need to find these bottom lines over here. Once we have them, then we probably have enough. More than enough. So that just looks like a spider web of lines, but this is good. This is all that we need. Because then we break them up like you do a grid. So now that you have your blocks almost, or triangles or whatever shape they are, you can start working on each section until you find the entire shape pretty much. So I'm going to sharpen my pencil, and now we're going to outline the entire jellyfish. And I will also check your questions. Really? Maureen has a fun fact for us. She says, jellyfish have no brain, no heart, and no blood, and are not actually a fish. So what are they? And how are they alive? Are they just nerve cells? They are ETs. They totally are. You know what? If we had to see a jellyfish for the first time, we would be in wonderment of it. They are 98% water, Maureen says. Oh, thanks, Luella. Luella thinks that the thicker parts are called arms and the thinner parts are called tentacles. Makes sense. Oh, that's so cool. Maureen says that jellyfish get their awesome colors from their combs, paddle-like hairs to catch food, and tiny prisms of refractive visible light. Amazing. This is so cool. Fun facts about things that we're drawing and we didn't even know them. Okay, so what we're going to do now is still use that pencil, and now we're going to start breaking down the outline. So where do I want to start? Let's start at the top. So let's try and get this rounded shape in. So I can see from this shape here that the jellyfish goes like that. And then this curves right by this little corner here. I'm not pressing hard at all, so this white comes up very clearly. Okay, so it's going to go to about there. Okay, and this end here. So I just need to pay attention to this corner and this corner here, and then you will be able to find those lines. Okay, so that's like the outer shell sort of established. I can see what we're going to need is we're going to need to find a way to put that curve in, but we'll do that later. Let's get the outer outline done first. So if I look at these two, because I want to get this tentacle here, or this arm, I can see that it's quite close to this line here. So I can find that over here. And then if you want, fold your print. If you want to see a little bit more, so you can see just how long it's going to be. Okay. So now we know where that section is, or that section, so we can just do that. Although we want to know where that section is there. So we probably want to make a line that goes across like that. I know it's gonna look like a webby mess, but it's okay. This is the way that it works. It may help if I started the video with a charged battery. Okay. So now we have this line, so that's great because that line there shows us where this is going to end and where these arms are going to start. Okay, so let's keep working on this tentacle here, whatever, just to get some of those shapes in. So there is like a luminescent area here, and then your tentacles sort of cause waves over here, and then there's this bit here. So I'm not fussed about 100% accuracy. I mean, if people are going to look at a drawing of a jellyfish, they are not going to know if you get something slightly off. So that's this bit here. And there's this sort of curvy bit there. Great. Now we can find this tentacle line. And the angle of these two endpoints sort of just at that angle there. So it'll end about here. So, and if you're not confident with putting that spot there, then find some more lines to draw with your ruler. Great, now that we have that, we can follow this line along. before we carry on with that, let's try and get the other side in. Actually, I really want to find this inner curve here. So, and also remember, you don't have to do it this way. You can go ahead and just transfer the image. That'll definitely be a lot quicker. Hey Ben, welcome. Ben says, hey, hello, first timer, so my apologies in advance for any breaches of protocol. Don't worry, you'll be forgiven. Or we ask that in the chat feed that when you ask any questions that you really want me to see, make sure that you put it in capital letters, and then it just makes it easier for me to see. That's it. And yes, welcome to the live stream. And Jason as well, welcome. Also your first chance to watch a live stream. It makes me so happy when you guys come on. Yes, Happy New Year to everybody. Radio. So we want to find this curve, and the way we do it is we want to find this line here, and we would like to probably find like this point here and this point here. So some more lines. Should just call this the spiderweb technique. Spider grid. Okay. And then this line here. And then I wonder if we go from these 2 points, yeah, we can do that. Okay, so let's put those lines in. Did I do that right? Yeah, that one to that one, and then that one. That one to that one. Okay, so we have an edge over here, and over here we have another one. These tentacles are sort of creating a triangular shadow in there. And then they are going upwards. So this has a curve like that. you will find that even though like outlining like this takes quite a while, it's very relaxing. You find your mind just gets lost in whatever you're drawing, and you focus on things that you don't usually focus on, so it's good to have your brain learn how to observe. So that actually goes a little bit above the line. I know you can't see my outline, but if you're going to do it in the same way and draw the same lines, you will understand. It would be cool. Oh no, I wouldn't be able to do that. And so it would be cool if I had another camera just on top of the reference, and then I can point out, you know, which section I'm working on, but I'm moving it around too much, it wouldn't work. It's not like a paint palette. Okay, so I know that these squiggly marks are above that line that I created there. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to make sure that I get these curves right, because I'm going to need those curves later on when we add color. So I know there's like little dots over here. You don't have to draw them in, but if it's going to help you notice a point, then do it. Dots over here. Freckles. Jellyfish freckles. And this curves up like this. So all these lines, as you're going and create, you notice more lines, and then you notice more spaces of where to place an accurate line. Ben says, I think with a bit of math, you can use the lines technique to draw the image at any size. Yes, you can. And the person that actually teaches that method is Daryl Tank. And he, they call it the 5 pencil method. So he would take a small image and then he'll show you how to use the lines accurately to make the large images. I don't know the method as well. I think part of what I'm doing is that method. But he has a more accurate way of doing it with different size images, definitely. So check him out if you want. So Daryl Tank, and his YouTube channel is called 5 Pencil Method. And they also have amazing tutorials on there. And if you want to learn realism in graphite, then it's worth checking it out. Luella says for transferring, she loves the pan pastel method on the back of the image. She says I made her life a lot easier. Yes, well, it certainly takes, saves a lot of time if you want to do that. I will admit though that when you do a freehand outline, or you figure it all out on your own, you do get a greater sense of satisfaction at the end of a drawing, because then you really know that it is, you did every step of that on your own. Okay, so here, this is starting to go down. So this goes down. There's a tentacle popping out here. So remember, all of this is going to be covered in black, so you're not going to see any of these lines, so don't worry about it. Because they're not, you may try and erase them and they don't erase as easily. So don't worry too much about trying to erase the lines. So this is starting to go a little bit lower. But yeah, the more lines you have, the easier it is to work within each little section that you've created. So this is great because now over here I can see that there's another tentacle sort of going across like this. Okay, so make sure I don't get confused. That's where the tentacle is. This is where the rest of this curvy bit is. And then it's got a grey shape over here. And then another tentacle. And then these are like translucent bits. Look at that! And then as you start going along with this, it's just gonna really start taking shape, and you're gonna oh, and another thing that this really helps with is as you're drawing the outline, you're observing the reference so much when doing your outline. By the time you start adding color, you've already observed it like 3, 4, 5 times, and then you're observing it again when you're adding the color. Then you find that you're not so worried about the shapes or the details, but your only thought is the color. So you don't feel like you are concentrating as much. It just starts to flow a little bit more. So this is, it teaches you a lot. If you can freehand an outline like this, it does, you think about more than what you know you're thinking about. Or you're learning more skills than what you think you're learning. Does that make sense? So now this can become very, very boring. So, but while you're watching videos like this, if you're not actually trying it for yourself, it's a good idea to look at other things at the same time. So go ahead, look at Daryl Tank's channel and see what he does, and yeah, go and find more fun facts about jellyfish for me. But yeah, the whole point about these live streams like this, even though this is very time consuming and it could be a bit boring to watch, at least it's in real time, and you guys have the ability to fast forward once the video is over, and you will yeah, so when it comes time that you want to do it with me, then literally you'll do it with me and you won't be fast forwarding anything. And so it does help having the real-time clips out there. And we learn from each other because you guys bring up fun facts that I had no idea about. So, and then also if you guys know something or a technique that someone else hasn't heard of, these kind of live streams are very beneficial for getting that sort of information. And I learn a lot from you guys too. I'm learning every day. Although I'm teaching like this in my live streams, I'm by no means a qualified expert in art. So I still want to learn from you guys, and I know that I find the best way to learn is by applying things practically and having other people apply them practically as well, and then you collaborate about it and then you learn. So YouTube's pretty epic now because there's just so much information out there for everybody. Okay, so I can see there, this side of the jellyfish sort of goes, excuse me, slightly over here. And then now we can focus on this edge and find out where these tentacles start. So let me fold that, maybe bring it closer. Cool. Ben says that Daryl Tang from 5 Pencil Method registers the original against the page edge and uses the intercept theorem. I have to look that up in English to guarantee similar triangles. Looks interesting. Yeah. So he's got a couple of decent breakdowns of like 1 or 2 playlists on how he does it step by step. So yeah, check it out. But if you aren't drawing something very big and you can get a decent print out like this, then this is another way to do it without having to try and worry too much about getting the sizing right. Because even though like Daryl will show you his method, I think I've tried it twice and I still stuffed up. I still couldn't get it right. So this was my way of finding an alternative. Okay, so there's a tentacle. There's an overlapping tentacle. Okay, so here, there's this section here that I want to put in. So that goes like that. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun adding these bright colors. Well, I'm guessing today's stream is just going to be the outline. Maybe we'll block in some black around the background. Oh, well Ben, if you give it a try, let us know how you go. So, just to point something out as well, I've noticed that quite a few of my students have not sent me their emails to log into the private Facebook page for the student portal. So there I literally put daily things up there. Anything that's happening at any moment, that would be the first place that it would go. So if you want to keep up to date with that, oh, and that's also a space where you guys can share information like this. So like Ben, if you try that technique out, you can show us on the student portal page. And if you need any advice for your artwork, then that's the place to put it. So if you want to make sure that you are part of that Facebook page, you have to send me your email that you use to log into Facebook. Not your regular email, the email that you use to log into your Facebook. That's the only way that I can send you an invite to straight away join the group. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you haven't got access to the Student Portal Facebook page, then send me an email with your email that you use to log into your Facebook, and then I can get you on there. And then yeah, Ben, if you try that out, it'd be great if you could share it with us. Okay, so this top tentacle, so it's translucent over there, goes through like that. And then this tentacle sort of is behind it and curves around like that and along the side, very close along the side to this section. I like the blue. This makes me think of a blueprint, so like technical drawing. Okay. I'm gonna put a timer on my watch so I can remember to press record on the DSLR. Okay, so that goes across like that. There's a squiggly bit there, and then the tentacle goes like that, ends like that. I'm glad the connection's good today. When we did the Smart Art box, I couldn't get started on time. But then again, that wasn't connection problems, that was me being silly. Me being a blonde, as they would say. Poor blonde people. I was uploading a tutorial on YouTube and I thought, I can't get the connection. The connection is like, you know, I don't know, kilobytes per second is like only 600 when it needs to be 2,000 or 3,000. And I just couldn't get it right. But then I paused the upload and it was all good. Okay. So I'm sort of just doing that automatically, which is cool. Right. Look, we're following along over here without even... So I want to find the two endpoints of these over here, so I can see that from this triangle here and this point here, I can just go at a slight angle. So the angle about there. So if I just keep that sort of angle, I can find the 2 points. So around about there. You can of course use your ruler if you want to get it spot on. Okay, so now I'm going to draw this tentacle and this one, arm, tentacle, whatever. I keep saying that, but you know what I mean. I keep saying that too. Okay. So we know that this is where it ends, so we can curve that along there. Great. And then this one, I can see that there's a line here. Doesn't quite cross there. So if I know where that tentacle is, I can create that curve there. So that's that tentacle, so I can just create a curve that goes around, and then that's where this one ends, and it's gonna go sort of that way, and then the tentacle is sort of translucent, or the arm is translucent, and you can see the tentacle through there. So you could create like little dotted areas to sort of just help you see that. Cool. Okay. So now this section seems like it's going to be tricky, but let's just follow it along and see where it takes us, because we have a lot of lines that sort of indicate where it should be. Oh yeah, thanks Maureen for pointing that out. I do also have a page which is open to the public called Chaldine Art Hordes. You guys gave me that name. Chaldine Art Hordes Facebook page, so you could join that group. And then if you have any useful art social media videos to share, tutorials, then you can share it there. And if you want to talk about art supplies, you can talk about it there as well. I know, so many things. Look, if I put this over the top like this, you can start seeing how it's just working out. Can't you? You can see the outline. It's the framework of it. Okay, so we're going to start moving up with these tentacles. So, around here. Maybe we can work from here. So because there's a lot of lines crossing here, let's pay attention to these lines, and then let's get those shapes in there, and then we can probably follow them along. So looking at this triangular like figure 8 thing going on here, we can put a wavy arm piece there. You can see that there's a tentacle that's coming across like this, very narrow one, and like that. Sharpen my pencil. So now I'm going to put down these wavy bits here. I can see there's a thin little tentacle going across here. See, and explaining this in a video is so much easier than trying to explain it, typing it out. Because I go, this section here. You can't write that out and be like, oh, look at this and this section here. Because you have to see it. Is the link not working, Maureen? I just need to check, make sure that nobody's having any oh, whoops, I sent the wrong link. Oh, Maureen sent the right one. Should be good. Okay. That's all good. It is working now. Okay. Just ignore what I sent. The link is broken. Right, carrying on. Okay. Now I can see this shape here, so I can work on that. Goes over here. The tentacle goes curves like that. I love looking at these colors. It's such beautiful colors. Okay, oopsie. And then here I know that this is where this tentacle starts, so it's going to curve down onto here. Cool, that helps us a bit. And then to about here is when the tentacle ends. Okay. So keeping this print handy when we start adding color as well is going to be very useful, because when you need to focus on smaller areas, you can just sort of look in between certain grids to find particular patterns and stuff. Okay, don't need too much more detail. So yeah, these curves sort of go under here. But yeah, during the process of adding color, we're going to be, you know, working on little sections at a time to put in all these details. Because right now, looking at all of it, there's so much going on, so many wavy bits, translucent bits. It could be a little bit of a struggle for you to be like, where do I begin? Pick a small spot and stick to it, and that's good. That's where you go. I say that, and then I just move around all over the place. But I'm thinking with this one, I probably will stick to an area and just work on that area just because of all that detail that's there. Okay. Okay. Now I feel like there's a lot of information missing there. So now we want to get a little bit more there. Oh, we got that tentacle missing there. That's what's missing. We have the edge of the tentacle here, and we have the start over here. See how cool is that? It's like just joining the dots. You end up putting things down that you don't even realize that you've really put down. Okay, and then one thing I'm noticing about this is that it curves in a little bit more than what I thought. So I'm going to try and erase that line. I'll show you what happens when you erase. It sort of makes it, gives it a white sort of powdery look like that. Alright, and then one thing you should do, not do what I just did, is when you're wiping something off of your page, use a brush, don't use your hand. Okay, so now we can curve that line in a bit more. Okay, and then just underneath it has like a little, almost like a U-shaped orange section. Probably don't have to go this far with the outline, but at least you guys understand how to do a freehand outline like this. Okay, this tentacle, I want to put that line there. So it sort of starts over here, curves around like that. Goes to about there, and then there's also like another translucent U-shaped little orange section here. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I'd say we've got our outer outline blocked in. Here, I need to put those, that's in that side. Over here we've got that there. Right. So this outline, to get this outline took us an hour. And I feel like that is enough information. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how we're going to start blocking in the black. The beauty about this is because there's a lot of translucency happening here. There's a lot of a black over here. And we're going to do black because it's black and the reference is black. It's like it's very, very dark, and the thing with translucent creatures is they are against the black background, which makes the translucent colors really stand out. So in this case, I'm not afraid to use a flat black. That's fine. Usually when we use black though, we like to put the black over other colors or put other colors on top of the black so that it doesn't look as flat. But in this case, we can use a flat black color. So we're going to be using black in there. In between here and the background. So I'm going to show you how we're going to define the black around the edges because we actually want really, really sharp edges. So we're going to use a sharp black pencil, and I'm probably going to end up using the entire pencil. So if I use up my whole Caran Pablo black pencil. I'm going to have to switch to Polychromos black pencil because I only have one of these pencils. I don't have a couple like I do in my Polychromos sets. And the reason I would switch it with my Polychromos pencil is because that's also an oil-based pencil. So the Pablo pencils are oil-based pencils, and the Polychromos pencils are oil-based pencils. So I'd like to use the oil-based pencils for the background because we're using a sanded surface. If we were using watercolor paper, I'd probably use my Prismacolor black instead. No worries, Ben. Thank you for the bit of time that you got to spend with us. See ya. Okay. So let's add some black in here. Because the nice part about this is, let me just change this. So this is black number 009. So we're doing the background. Okay. And yeah, when you have such a sharp black and such a wide highlight right next to it, that's what makes something stand out. Because it's got such extreme contrast. So that's what we want. So we're going to fill in the black. You don't have to press hard. I'm not pressing hard. When you apply solvent to this, it's going to make it stand out more. So you will notice a lot of like little powdery bits of the pencil on the paper, and that's because this paper is a sanded surface. That's exactly what it's going to do to your pencil. It's going to eat through your pencil. Okay, over here, this actually goes in like that. And then the way to really sharpen our edges will be when we blend with the solvent, because we'll use the brush to help sharpen those edges. So I'm going to remove this now and just keep looking at my reference. So I have this really nicely printed out. So that's what I'm having in front of me. You can obviously look at your reference through your iPad, or if you have a nice printer and printing paper, you can print it as well. But I am going to look at that. So if you need to know why I'm adding a certain color in a certain area, make sure to look at the reference. Maureen, you could do all the black with pan pastels if you wanted. The reason I'm not using the pan pastels is because you can't get the edges as crisp and clean as what you can with pencils, and you can't blend your pan pastels with the solvent. So we're going to use the solvent to our advantage to get really crisp, clean edges, because we don't want the edges to look faded. The edges are very sharp, especially with the really bright tentacles. And then trying to get the edges that sharp using pan pastels is very difficult. So that is the reason we are not using the pan pastels. So around the outside. I'll actually give you a demonstration of what I mean by these sharp edges. So let's just go on the outside of this. And then something that I need to remember later is I need to put something under my hand to keep it clean. See how you can already, even though I haven't blended it with the solvent, this is a nice sharp edge. So trying to get a sharp edge like this with the pan pastels is very difficult. That was a good question, thanks Maureen. And then see how our white lines disappear, so you don't have to worry about all these lines that are everywhere. I mean, this pencil is going to be annihilated at the end of this. Are the Pablo pencils open stock? I think they are. Need to see if I can just get a couple of the black ones. So under the tentacle in here, it's very dark. Oh, I finally got some pastel matte paper. So I can try that, because a lot of you have asked, you know, what I've seen there a lot of questions about people saying which is better, the pastel matte or the Mi-Tientes paper. So it would be good for me to, I want to know for myself as well. So I'll try and use that as soon as possible. Oh great, they are open stock. That's good. I need to get some black ones. Thanks, Maureen. Okay. Okay, let's go in here. Very black in between these sections. I think you can start to see or start to picture how it's going to, how the black is going to really stand, or how the black is really going to make the contrasting color pop out. Oh, cool! Jackie says the art shop in Melbourne sells them. They're cheapest in Australia, she thinks. Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you. I get a lot of my stuff from the art shop in Melbourne, especially the zested pencil blend, because that's not that easy to find everywhere. Okay, so in between some of these tentacle areas, really looks like a blueprint, doesn't it? Okay, I need to just take a piece of paper or something. To put it under my hand. Okay, so that's sort of the outer outline. Now we do want to block in the whole of the background using the black, but I'm sure I would be able to do that without having that on video. But let's see what else. So that defines it quite nicely. So once we have the black for the rest of the background in, and all these lines disappear, at least it will look a little more appealing to the eye. And then yeah, let me show you what happens when you take your brush and your solvent. Where's my brush? There it is. So I'm going to use a number 2 round Jassar Taklon brush, and then I'm going to dip the tip in my zested solvent and dab off any excess onto paper towel. So just dab off any excess. And then when you want to sharpen your edges, you can really define them nicely. And then I find with the zested over the top of this paper, look how much clearer the black gets. So if you really want to sharpen these edges here, look how neat and tidy you can get them by using the tip of your brush and your solvent. So you can get that to look extra smooth and very, very fine, very detailed. Does that make sense? Let me zoom in on a section and show you a little bit better. So I'm just rubbing off any excess. Sorry, I know that's quite bright there. Let's zoom in on a section. Okay, let's do this section here. So I'm dipping my brush in the solvent, and I want to define these edges. So I know there's a very thin tentacle right there, so I can outline that tentacle quite neatly, like that. Do you see that? See how detailed you get? So you wouldn't get this right with the pan pastel, because you can't get such fine points with the pan pastel. Plus you can't blend the pan pastel with the solvent either, so it will just have a very matte sort of powdery look, whereas this at least enhances the black, takes away the gloss, and you can get extreme detail and definition. So again, there's a tentacle here. Okay, so that should make a bit more sense now. And this is also just another thing to show you how much I love this paper. It's like I don't even want to use watercolor paper anymore. This is the only paper I want to use. So I just want to use sanded papers, because the colors and the layering is so easy, and you can put light colors over dark colors with this. That's what I like the most. Okay, let me zoom back out. Okay, so you can blend this in. And then of course now when we do the big parts of the background, you can use a bigger brush. And there's this tentacle here, so you want to get that edge very crisp and clean. And you know, if I didn't do the November challenge where I did a drawing a day and experimented with all other supplies other than the usual supplies that I use, I would have never worked out how amazing this paper is. So everything happens for a good reason. And it's good to get out of your comfort zone and try new things, because you never know what you're going to discover. Oh, this is so much fun. Luella says, I just ordered a black sheet and a grey sheet of the touch paper. Can't wait to try it out. Great. Yes, I need to get some black ones as well. So crisp. I think that's the best word. Crisp and clean. And what's so nice about the sanded paper is as well, because it's got so much tooth, you can layer so much. So like, even though I got all this black, so let's just say I block in the entire thing with black, I'm not going to have trouble putting other colors over the top of it, or adding more black or adding more color if I went too far with the black. Jackie's asking, did I order the paper in Australia? The big sheets that I have, no. I ordered them from Cheap Joe's in America, but I probably spent about $150 in shipping. But the reason for that is because I spent about $500 on just massive sheets of different kinds of paper, including one color of each of the Mi-Tientes touch paper. So they're just big sheets that I cut down into smaller sheets. But you can get the smaller pads of the Mi-Tientes touch paper, I think at softpastels.com.au. I recently bought some. Soft pastels. Let me just check my order. Oh no. I got the Fisher 400 paper from softpastels.com.au. But I think Eckersley's may have the Mi-Tientes touch paper. I'll check for you real quickly. So Eckersley's has the Mi-Tientes, it says text paper, not touch. So I'm wondering if that's similar. What's the text paper? Yes, it is a sanded surface. So the Mi-Tientes text paper is made of a 355 GSM acid-free paper covered in fine colored grit. The grit allows you to glide pastels and charcoal with ease, with achieving intense deep coverage. Okay, so maybe I'll get some of the text paper from Eckersley's, because I'm thinking they're probably the same. But yeah, there's just hundreds and hundreds of different kinds of paper. No problem. Okay, so I'm gonna go for another 40 minutes. I'll probably just get the whole background done. And then, not 40 minutes, sorry, 20 minutes. And then at 1 p.m. my time, I will be doing the live stream for those that are part of the fantasy art subscription. So the $15 plus reward tier or subscription, and we'll do part 2 of the fantasy art piece. So hopefully we can finish the cat's face, and then maybe we can do the background, and maybe we can add a bit to the horns on the cat's head today, so we shall see. And then tomorrow I'll do the live stream demonstration on the tips and tricks video. So you guys want to know how to test your values accurately, or how to draw your values accurately and test how accurate they are. So we'll do that tomorrow, and we'll do it live. And then what's coming up after that? Oh, on Friday, your Thursday, we'll do the public live stream for everybody of the January challenge in the Colored Pencil magazine, which is a landscape, like a sunset silhouette landscape. So that one's going to be good. I'm not sure what I'm going to use yet. I'll probably use the Mi-Tientes touch paper again. But yes, that's a different topic. I forgot to say here. Blend the black with solvents. Okay. Love how it just makes that shine go away, so that, like, see how faded it looks there, because it's actually got a lot of shine. But the minute you add the solvent, that shine disappears and the black just enhances on this paper. So that's really nice. It's good for me because I feel like I need to tilt my head sideways to look past the shine. Oh, there's a section there as well. Okay, now let's go ahead and just block in the rest of the background. That's gonna make it all look black and clean. And take away these white lines, take away the blue. So I'm going to end up sharpening this quite a few times. Okay, before I carry on with that, I need to just take a 2-minute break. I'll be right back. Okay, cool. Let's carry on with that. I'm sure you guys can see now why I am saying that I am going to go through this entire pencil. Okay, and then once I have this background done, I'm definitely going to have to put something under my hand, because so I don't move any color around onto the colors that are supposed to be very bright and highlighted. Do you see what the black looks like on its own without blending with the solvent? So the solvent makes such a difference. It like transforms the entire thing. I do clean my station every day. I just think I will put some tape here just to keep this edge nice and clean. Keep it looking pretty. One of the most satisfying parts about a drawing, at the end of a drawing, is when you get to peel off the masking tape and you've got nice crisp clean edges. And obviously we'll use a bigger brush. I may have said that before. But yeah, we'll use a bigger brush to blend this in. The direction doesn't matter too much. Your brush will blend those pencil strokes in smooth. Almost there. If you did this on watercolor paper, it would take you such a long time. You'd have to do so many layers. Okay. I'm just gonna grab a bigger brush. So I just have this brush here, which is number 6 West Art acrylic brush. You can use whatever brushes you want. Still want to dab off any excess onto your paper towel. So dip that into your pencil blend. And we can start blending that in. Maureen says, what a huge difference. I know. It's so much fun. This paper's incredible. It's very expensive though. It really is expensive, but so if you're gonna cut it down into small pieces, make sure you save those little pieces for little drawings, because you don't want to be throwing any of it away for the price that it is. But it is worth it. I mean, it's an amazing paper. I can't tell you the price off the top of my head, but I do remember when I bought the paper, I was like, far out, that's expensive. It better be amazing paper. Okay. So I can see that there seems to be like almost like a wavy texture from my brush. I don't know if I can make it look completely smooth or not, so that's something we'll have to have a play around with. I don't mind the texture too much. It sort of goes with the whole theme of the drawing, since it's in water. Could be like a wavy texture almost. But we'll see if we can get it any smoother anyways. That is so cool. Okay, I'm wondering if I sort of like semi-dry off my brush and go back over. There's a way we could smooth out those wavy textures we created. Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot to do this again. So you could, if your brush isn't too wet, you could just smooth it out, sort of. Try and get it as smooth as you can. There'll still be little textures, but I mean, it still looks really nice. Yeah, if you leave the textures, it could be like movement under the water. But at least we know that if we do want to get it super smooth, just work it with your brush. Okay, I'm not too fussed about these marks here. I'm actually okay to leave them be. I like that as a black background. Very, very nice. It is quite a matte look, but yeah, that's just the way it's gonna be. Ooh, maybe something we should try at the end of this drawing. I should show you guys how you can, after you sprayed like a final fixative, how you could varnish it with a glossy varnish. I think this one would be very nice with a gloss varnish finish. And then you don't have to frame it, because if you put a gloss varnish over your artwork, it's a complete protective layer. It's like applying gloss on your paper. That's how protective it is. You won't scratch it, you won't change the color, it won't get sun damaged, not if you use the right kind of archival varnish. I'll show you guys that at the end. I think that would be a great little thing to try. I think this will look awesome with a glossy finish, and then the black won't look so matte. Okay, so that, I think I'm just gonna call that part 1 of today's tutorial. We did the outline, we did the background, and then the next part will be to start adding color. So even though I say 5-part tutorial, it may not be as many as 5 parts, but we compensate. I just break up my time for if it may be as many as 5 parts. So it may not be 5 parts. So let me just say this is part 1. Part 2 will be when we start adding color. I think what I'll do is the final part of this drawing will be all about finishing it off completely. So how to adhere it to a board, because if you're not going to frame it and it is paper, you still want to use an archival adhesive to adhere it to some sort of board. So I have quite a few boards. So I'll show you what kind of glue I use for that and how I adhere it to the board. I'll also show you how I finish it off with a final fixative. And then, because you finish it with a final fixative, then you leave it for about 24 hours. And then you use a PVA archival glue to adhere it to the surface of a board. And then after that, you will use your archival matte or gloss varnish to seal it in and just make it look perfect. Great. So it looks pretty boring right now because I mean it's just black and the blue of the paper and a bunch of white lines. But as soon as we start adding those pinks, it's gonna look insane. I'm so tempted to add a smidge right now, but we'll save it for the next part. So coming up in an hour, I will be doing part 2 of the fantasy art drawing that I named My Surreal Nature. And yeah, so those of you that are part of that, you would have received an email with the link, and then I will see you guys in a little bit there. For the rest of you that are not part of that, thank you for tuning in to today's tutorial, and I will see you guys tomorrow in the tips and tricks video where we talk about values and how to get accurate values. So thanks so much guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.